Wait, stop, just for a moment. I'm speaking to you. Yes, you, right now. You're not here by accident, not by chance. You are here because I wanted you here. I know how your mornings feel. I know the heaviness, the weight that presses down on you. Before your feet even touch the floor, the thoughts that rush in. Before hope reaches your heart, the quiet fear that whispers you are not enough. I see the strength you show everyone else, and I see the exhaustion you hide, even from those closest to you. And that is why I asked you to pause here, to stay with me, because the first voice you listen to in the morning guides your heart for the entire day. And I do not want fear to guide you. I do not want anxiety to shape your steps. I do not want the noise of the world to reach you before I do. You don't need perfect words. You don't need long prayers. You only need honesty, even if all you can offer is silence. I understand silence. I understand the tears you never let fall. I understand the prayers you gave up on, because you felt nothing changed. But listen to me now. Just because you didn't see an answer before does not mean I was not working. Sometimes I am preparing you quietly, strengthening you in ways you will only notice later, when life feels too heavy to carry. And today, there will be moments like that. Moments when old fears return. Moments when doubts creep in. Moments when you feel weak or unready. And in those moments, remember this voice. Remember that I am already ahead of you, walking into every conversation, every decision, every challenge you are afraid of. I'm already there, and I'm not asking you to control the whole day. Just take the next step. Just take the next breath. Just the next moment. Before your phone, before the noise, before the world reaches you. Let me speak to you first. Let my presence fill your mind and calm your heart. Say this quietly in your soul. Jesus, walk with me today. And even if you feel nothing immediately, trust that peace is coming, because peace does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes peace settles quietly, like the calm before sunrise. I know you have felt alone, even in crowded rooms. I know you have wondered if anyone truly sees you, but I see you fully, not just who you are today, but who you are becoming. I see your efforts, your late nights, your sacrifices, the battles you never speak of. And I am proud of you for still showing up, for still trying, for still hoping, even when hope feels fragile. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not weak for needing me. You were never meant to carry life alone. And if you're listening right now, and your breathing feels slower, and your heart feels lighter, even just a little, that is me reminding you that you are safe, that you are held, that this day does not have to defeat you. Stay with me. Let my words sink deeper than your worries. Let my peace reach the places fear has occupied for far too long. As the day unfolds, come back to me whenever the weight returns, because I am always here, always listening, always near. And if this message reached you at the start of your day, take it as a sign that I wanted to cover you before anything else touched your mind. Do not keep this moment to yourself. If these words spoke to your heart, share this message with someone who needs to hear that they are not alone, and subscribe to this channel so my voice can reach you again whenever your heart feels tired or lost, because you didn't just find this video today. I found you, and I will keep finding you every time you need me, every single day, until your heart feels calm, until your soul feels safe, until you remember that you never walk alone. Listen carefully. I did not share these words with everyone. These are the truths I save for those who are broken inside, for those who stand among people yet feel completely alone. If you're hearing this right now, know this, it is not an accident. I once told you that your greatest battle is not with the world, not with people, not with circumstances. Your greatest battle is within you. The fear that keeps you awake at night, the voice that tells you that you are not enough, the weight you carry silently every single day, until you win this battle inside. No victory outside will ever bring you peace. But this is not the deepest truth, because what I told you next goes even deeper. I told you that what you see is not always the truth. Not every smiling face is happy, and not every quiet soul is weak. Some of the strongest people are the ones who are hurting the most. If you're smiling while hiding pain, know this: I see you. I know the tears you never shared, the pain you never spoke out loud. But stay with me, because there is something most people never truly understood. I told you that even my silence is an answer. When you pray and hear nothing, it does not mean I am far away. Sometimes I'm strengthening you. Sometimes I'm shaping your patience. And sometimes I am watching to see if you still trust me without proof. Silence is not rejection. Silence is preparation. And now listen closely, because the next truth can change your life. I told you that the one who refuses to forgive can never be free. The pain you keep holding on to, the faces you replay in your mind, those people have already moved on, but you're still trapped. Forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you. The moment you let go, you begin to breathe again. And now, here to the final truth, because I spoke this only to broken hearts. I told you that even when you feel alone, you never truly are. When the world goes quiet and your tears fall in the dark, I am there. When you feel misunderstood, I understand. When you think you cannot go on anymore, I am holding you. I would leave the whole world behind before I ever leave you. Your pain is seen, your struggle matters, and your story is not over yet. If these words reach your heart, do not ignore this moment. Subscribe to this channel now, because what you will hear here will continue to heal, strengthen, and awaken your soul. And share this video with someone who is silently struggling, because they may be waiting for this message, just like you were. Today, I want you to listen carefully, not like you listen to background noise, not like a video playing while you scroll. I want you to really listen, because what you're about to hear is not a story, not motivation, and not religion the way people usually talk about it. This is about something much deeper. And if you stay with me till the end, you'll understand why so many people feel empty even when their lives look perfect on the outside. Picture this for a moment. A man has money, success, respect, and freedom. People look at him and say he's living the dream. But every night, when the lights are off and no one is watching, his heart feels heavy. There's a quiet question inside him that never goes away. Why do I still feel incomplete? That question is not rare. Millions of people are asking it right now, silently. Jesus Christ once said something that sounds simple, but carries a terrifying truth. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? Most people hear this and move on. Very few stop and let it hit them. Because if this is true, then chasing everything the world promises might be the very thing draining us inside. The world tells you to become more, earn more, prove more. Jesus tells you to pause, to look inward, and to remember who you really are. That contrast alone is enough to make people uncomfortable. Here's the uncomfortable part. People didn't reject Jesus because he lacked power. They rejected him because he exposed truth. Truth that challenged pride. Truth that questioned identity. Truth that forced people to choose between comfort and transformation. And this leads to a question you may have never asked yourself honestly. If Jesus were standing in front of you today, would you truly listen, or would you turn away the moment his words touched something you didn't want to change? Don't answer yet, because what comes next explains why this question matters more than you think. When Jesus walked among people, he didn't speak like a politician, try to please everyone. He didn't soften truth to protect feelings. And that's exactly why crowds followed him, and why many eventually left. At first, people loved the miracles. They loved the healing, the food, the hope. But when Jesus started talking about the heart, about surrender, about dying to the old self, the crowd became uncomfortable. There's a moment in the Bible when many disciples quietly walked away from him. No argument, no protest. They just left. Why? Because his words were too heavy, too real, too demanding. And that same thing still happens today. We live in a time where everyone wants blessings, but very few want transformation. People want peace, but not repentance. They want comfort, but not correction. Jesus never promised comfort first. He promised truth first, and truth has a cost. Jesus looked at people society had rejected, sinners, broken souls, the forgotten, and he didn't see labels. He saw hearts, but he also never said, "Stay the same." His message was always clear, "Follow me." And following him meant letting go of what you were clinging to. Ask yourself something honestly. What are you holding on to so tightly that you wouldn't want God to touch it? Is it pride? Control? Fear? A secret no one knows? This is where most people stop listening. Because Jesus doesn't just fix problems. He changes direction. And change feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Here's the open truth most people never hear. Jesus is not dangerous to your life. He's dangerous to your comfort. And that's why people admire him from a distance, but hesitate to truly follow him. But this still doesn't explain the biggest mystery. If Jesus taught love, forgiveness, and truth, why did his life end on a cross? The answer to that changes everything. The cross was not an accident. It was not a failure. And it was not the end of Jesus' story. It was the moment everything he taught became undeniable. Because the cross reveals how far love is willing to go when truth refuses to compromise. Jesus didn't die because he was weak. He died because he refused to back down. He stood in a world built on power and ego and said, "Love your enemies. Forgive those who hurt you. Serve instead of dominate." That message threatens systems, leaders, and mindsets. And when truth threatens control, it is often silenced. But here's what most people miss. The cross wasn't just something done to Jesus. It was something he accepted. He could have walked away. He could have called it quits. Instead, he stayed. Not because nails held him there, but because love did. Why does this matter to you today? Because the same pattern still exists. Truth still costs something. Standing for what's right still isolates people. And choosing faith still requires courage. Jesus never promised an easy life. He promised a meaningful one. And there's a big difference. Easy fades quickly. Meaning lasts forever. Now think about this. If the resurrection is true, then death isn't the end. Fear loses its power. Failure isn't final. And your past doesn't get the last word. That's why the resurrection terrified authorities more than the cross ever did. Because a risen Jesus means hope cannot be buried. But here's the question that decides everything. If Jesus conquered death, then what excuse do we have to keep living trapped by fear, guilt, and emptiness? The answer to that question leads us into the most personal part of this message, and it's where everything becomes real. Let's take this even deeper. The truth Jesus teaches is not theoretical. It is practical, and it is confrontational. Every choice you make either brings you closer to freedom or keeps you chained to fear. And most people spend their lives running in circles, thinking comfort is the goal, not realizing it's the trap. Here's the harsh reality. The world teaches you to measure success by what you have, what people say about you, or how safe your life feels. Jesus flips that on its head. He says success is measured by your heart, by your courage to let go, to forgive, to step into the unknown. And that scares most people because it's not easy. Imagine standing in front of every fear, every regret, every secret you've buried, and realizing only truth will set you free. That's the essence of Jesus' teaching. Not stories, not slogans, not rituals. Real transformation, real freedom comes when you face what you have been avoiding and say, "I will not hide anymore." This is where the eye hook hits. Most people scroll past this idea. Most people watch videos like this, feel inspired for 10 minutes, and go back to life the same way. But the few who let this sink in, who allow the message to reach their core, they're the ones who begin to see real change. And here's the kicker. The reason Jesus' words feel heavy isn't because they are harsh. They feel heavy because they shine a light on the shadows you've been ignoring. The very shadows you've tried to distract yourself from with money, approval, or endless busyness. Stay with me, because what I'm about to explain next shows exactly how this light doesn't just expose shadows, it transforms them into strength. Transformation is never comfortable. And that's why most people stop before they reach it. Jesus didn't promise comfort. He promised truth. And truth challenges every part of you that relies on control, pride, or fear. Think about it. If every insecurity, every mistake, every fear you could be confronted and healed, would you face it? Or would you keep pretending it doesn't exist? Most people choose the latter, but Jesus calls you to the former. And this is the point where life splits into two paths. One path of temporary pleasure and distraction, the other path of lasting meaning and impact. This path of meaning is not smooth. It is not predictable. It is not popular, but it is real. And real life, true life, has never been about safety. It has always been about courage, commitment, and the willingness to face what others avoid. Let me be clear. The people who followed Jesus didn't follow because it was easy. They followed because somewhere inside, they recognized that staying the same would cost them far more than stepping into the unknown. The cross was proof that true love is fearless. That's why the resurrection wasn't just a miracle, it was a declaration. It said, everything you fear, everything that holds you back can be overcome. And here's where the open loop comes in. If you take this seriously, your life cannot stay the same. Your relationships, your work, your mindset, your fears, they will all be tested. Some things will have to go. Some truths will have to be faced. And if you're willing, the reward is beyond what words can describe. Now consider this. Most people admire courage from distance. They applaud from their comfort zone. But very few are willing to step out. Very few are willing to face the truth of their own life like this. This is why retention, focus, and consistency matter, because real change doesn't happen in 10 minutes. It happens in hours, days, and years of attention, reflection, and action. So here's the reality you need to hear. You've spent years learning to avoid discomfort. You've been trained to chase happiness in external things, likes, money, recognition, distractions. But all those things are temporary. None of them can fill the emptiness inside. Only truth, only transformation, only confronting your own heart can. Jesus' message is radical because it goes directly against the natural instinct of human beings. Survival, comfort, ego, all of that is hardwired. But the spirit he teaches, love, courage, humility, requires something you don't want to give up at first: control. Think of the strongest people you know. Do you know how they became strong? Not by avoiding pain, not by running from fear. They became strong by walking through it, by facing the uncomfortable, by allowing truth to break them before it rebuilt them. That's exactly what Jesus calls you to do. And it's exactly why so many admire him, but don't follow him. Here's the open loop for you. The moment you step into this truth, the world will resist. People you love, systems you depend on, habits you've held on to, they will push back. They will try to keep you small, comfortable, and predictable. But if you hold firm, something extraordinary happens. The chains that once held you begin to fall. The same shadows that scared you now become your strength. The same fear that froze you becomes courage. And finally, consider this. The resurrection isn't just about Jesus. It's about a principle that applies to every human life. Life, death, fear, failure, they're not permanent. Transformation is permanent. That is the truth that most people overlook. And that truth, when embraced, changes everything. At some point, every person reaches a quiet moment where noise no longer works. Distractions fail. Entertainment feels empty. And that's when the real questions surface. Not loud questions, honest ones. Questions like, who am I really? And what happens if I keep living like this? This is the moment Jesus' message becomes impossible to ignore. Jesus never chased crowds for attention. He spoke to the individual heart. He understood that transformation doesn't begin in public applause. It begins in private surrender. When no one is watching, when excuses stop working, when truth finally has space to speak. This is why silence is powerful and terrifying at the same time. In silence, you can no longer blame the world. You face yourself, and Jesus meets people exactly there, not with condemnation, but with clarity. He doesn't say, "You are too broken." He says, "You are worth changing." That difference alone has saved more lives than people realize. But clarity demands a response. You cannot unsee truth once you recognize it. You either move forward or you retreat deeper into distraction. And most people retreat, not because they are evil, but because courage is rare. Jesus knew this. That's why he said the path is narrow. Not exclusive, just demanding. Narrow because it requires focus. Narrow because it requires intention. Narrow because it asks you to let go of what slows you down. Here's the hook you need to feel. Your life is already moving in a direction. Not choosing is still a choice. Staying the same is still movement, just backward. And the longer you wait, the heavier it becomes. Stay here, because what comes next explains how small decisions, almost invisible ones, shape an entire lifetime. Most lives are not ruined by one big mistake. They're shaped by small compromises repeated daily. Jesus understood this better than anyone. That's why he focused on the heart, not just behavior. Because behavior follows belief, and belief shapes destiny. Think about it. Every habit you have today started as a thought. Every fear started as a lie you accepted. Every strength began as a choice you repeated. Jesus didn't come to manage symptoms. He came to change foundations. This is where many people misunderstand faith. They think it's about rules. It's not. It's about alignment. Aligning your thoughts, your actions, and your purpose with truth. And alignment creates peace, not because life gets easier, but because your soul stops fighting reality. Jesus talked about building your house on rock instead of sand. That wasn't poetry. It was a warning. Storms come to everyone. Pain comes to everyone. Loss comes to everyone. The difference is not who avoids storms, but who survives them. If your life is built on approval, it collapses when people leave. If it's built on money, it collapses when security fades. If it's built on ego, it collapses when failure hits. But when it's built on truth, it bends, but does not break. Here's the open loop. Many people realize this too late. They wait until everything collapses before asking real questions. Jesus offers another way, to rebuild before destruction forces it. And rebuilding doesn't start with perfection. It starts with honesty. One honest moment can redirect an entire future. One decision to stop pretending can unlock freedom you didn't think was possible. What happens when someone actually lives this way? That answer changes how you see strength, success, and purpose forever. Real strength is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. Jesus never tried to look powerful by the world's standards. No armies, no taitas, no throne. Yet his influence outlived empires. That tells you something important about the nature of true power. Power that relies on force fades. Power rooted in truth multiplies. That's why Jesus' message still spreads centuries later. Not through fear, but through transformation. Lives change from the inside out. People who truly follow this path don't become perfect. They become grounded. They stop reacting to everything. They stop living for approval. They start responding with intention. And that shift alone separates those who drift through life from those who lead it. This is the moment to pause and reflect. Not emotionally. Honestly, are you living by design or by default? Are your days intentional or automatic? Jesus' message forces this question because it exposes autopilot living. Autopilot feels safe, but it slowly drains meaning. Intention feels risky, but it restores purpose. And purpose is what gives suffering context. Without purpose, pain feels pointless. With purpose, pain becomes a teacher. Jesus never wasted suffering. He transformed it. And that's the invitation still on the table. Not to escape hardship, but to grow through it. Not to avoid truth, but to live aligned with it. Here's the closing loop for this section. Everything you've heard so far leads to one unavoidable realization. Your life matters more than you've been taught to believe. Your choices echo longer than you think. And the direction you choose today quietly shapes the person you become tomorrow. And we're not done yet, because the next part reveals how this truth plays out in everyday life. Relationships, fear, failure, and the moments no one else sees. Before you leave, pause for just a moment. If this message made you think, if it touched something inside you, or if it gave you clarity you didn't have before, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Sometimes one share can change a life more than we realize. And if you want more content like this, deep, meaningful, and real, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Videos like this are posted here regularly, so you never miss a message that can strengthen your mindset, your faith, and your direction in life. Also, very soon I'll be doing collaborations with my main channel and other powerful channels where even more impactful content will be shared. When you see those collaborations, don't forget to subscribe to those channels as well, especially my main channel that I collaborate from. Your support helps this message reach more people who are searching for truth, purpose, and hope. Stay connected, stay intentional, and remember, your life has meaning, and your choices matter more than you think. I want to tell you something. Stop for a moment and listen carefully, because the weight you've been carrying in your heart for so long was never meant for you to carry alone. I never asked you to handle everything by yourself. I've seen the exhaustion you hide from everyone, the fear that quietly surrounds you at night. You smile during the day, but inside you're worn down, and still you tell yourself that everything is fine. Listen to me. I never promised you an easy life, but I did promise you that you would never be alone. You didn't break because you were weak. You were tired because you tried to carry every pain by yourself. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. And this is the truth most people never understand. You keep worrying about tomorrow today, carrying fear for things that haven't even happened yet. That's why I tell you, do not worry about tomorrow. Today was given to you, so you can live today, and tomorrow I will take care of myself. If your heart feels heavy, right now, come to me. If your prayers feel unanswered, come to me anyway, because I see you, I hear you, and I am still changing lives today. And now I want to ask you something. If these words reach your heart, then like this video right now, so this message can reach someone who desperately needs it today. Subscribe to this channel so you're never alone when your heart feels broken. And share this video, because your one share could be the moment that changes someone's entire life. And comment, Amen, if you trust me.